Hello everyone, and welcome to this second part of the Beautiful Soup tutorial. Now that we covered the basics, let's start by looking at the books on the first page of the website. So what we are planning to do here is to subtract the information about the books, like the book title, the price, the rating, maybe the availability. And let's say that we would also like to look at which category the book is part of. So let's look at the source code of the website again. If we want to get all the books on the first page, there are 20 books as you can see, then we have to inspect the elements of the page. So as you can see, they're all in an ordered list. And if you hover over this ordered list, that you can see that there are lists for every class and for every book, and then every book is in this article class. And if you expand this, then you find a div class with an image container. Then you can find the star rating. Then you can go further and look at the price, and so on, and then in stock availability and so on. So for instance, the price and the availability are in this div class. Um, so in this div tag with the class product price, which has both the price and the stock availability. So what we will do now is that we will go through each book and try to get all the information possible from this page. And we're talking now only about the first page. Now, one thing to notice here is that we cannot really get the category from here. So in order to get the category, we would have to open this link and get the link for the book, and then go over here and choose this category, which is poetry, from here. So we need to navigate towards this page and then choose this from here. So if we inspect, this would be in this breadcrumb, as you saw earlier, class, and then we have to navigate there. But let's look at the first page again and start it really easy, and then we're gonna get to that as well. So let's now look at the first page and look for all the books and the titles and the URLs. So scrape first page, and then so if we go back to the page, then we can see here that the URL and the title of the page are all easily found in this H3 tag. So what we will do is look for this tag with find all. So if we go back to the code, then we would write look for all books, look for books URLs and titles. And this would be, we would create a book list, let's say, which would be soup dot find all. And then what we want is this H3 tag. Of course, you can do it in many ways, but we'll do it like this for now. And then let's see what we have in here for now. If we print book list, the first book, and then we want to find, if you remember, it was probably an, yeah, it was an A tag. So we will find that tag. And we could either use that get title, or we could also just look for the href attribute. So this is one, and this is the other one. If we would like to do, yeah. So the first one should print the URL, and then the second one should print the title. And let's see, for the first book, that is. Yeah, so this is it. The URL and the title, and as you can find them from here. So this first step is done now. So what we could do next is to go and get the price. We can get the in-stock availability. We can get the rating from this page. But one thing, like I said earlier, that we cannot get is actually the category of the book from this page. So what we need to do then is to navigate here, like I explained earlier, and create another sub-object, and then scrape all the information we have here. We have, again, the title, the price, availability, rating, product description, and so on. And what we were really interested in, this category that the book is in. And in order to do that, for the first page, it would be good to not do it only for the one book, but to really iterate through the list and extract for all the books or the information we can get from the first page, while navigating to the URL of every book. So this is what we're going to do next. So what we will do now is create a loop and go through this list. So iterate through the list that we created, right through the list, and get the information we need. So first thing, so for book in book list, no, for book in book list, then yes, let's do that and see that everything is working out so far. Yeah, this looks good. So then we actually don't really need this right now. So this was just for testing. But what we need to do is to get each book's URL. So then the book URL would be this. And then we have to create actually beautiful sub-object. So for that, we will need a book soup, so a soup for every book. So book soup then is beautiful soup requests get book URL parser. And then, well, we went a little bit ahead of ourselves, and then check it. This is working out. So we create a soup object for every book. And then we will proceed to get from the page of every book all the information we need, including the category from there. So now that we have the soup object for every book, we can open this link and go to the URL of this specific book. And then from here, if we inspect this page, again, that we see, for instance, that the title is within this H1 tag. So if we want to get the title, then we're gonna go back to our scraping Google Colab and write something like title equals book soup find H1 And let's print title. Here it could also be string, not only text, so we can have that there. I don't want to print book URL, so just yet. So as you can see, these are all the titles of the books from the first page, and we got those by navigating to that specific link for all of them. Now, let's look at the other information. But before we look into how we get the category, let's look at two simpler things: how to get the rating, for instance, the price, and in stock availability. So let's look at the price. So if we look here at the price, if we inspect the price, this is the price. So what we should do is to find the paragraph of price color, and then extract this information and then print it out. So in order to do that, we don't need this at the moment. So what we'll do is that we go to price is book find, and that works nicely. And then let's print it and see how it works out. So this looks a little bit funky. So that means that there we should extract only this information. So this is a vector, so we only need to extract that. And in order to do that, we will just print essentially, well, it will be like this. And we should get only last part of it. So remember that the indexing starts from 0. And now we have the price for every book. So this was fairly easy. Then I'm going to comment this part because we don't want to print everything all the time. Then if we want to get, for instance, the rating, we could look again at the class. So where was the rating? We're on the wrong page. I'm sorry for that. So if I look in here, then we would have the rating. If we inspect, so there is a class star rating. It's this over here, and this is what we need to get. So in order to do that, we can go back here and write rating. As you can see, we have a lot of help, but we need to figure out what we want to do. So indeed, what we want to do is to get the paragraph with a class star rating, and then get the second element of that. So now let's see how this is looking out. All right, so we have here a list with a title, price, and rating. So far so good. This is looking good now. And now the next thing that we need to do is we need to check again, how do we actually, on this page, how do we actually get the category? So what we want to do is get this poetry category for every book. So the rest was fairly easy, but let's check that out. So we go back here, and then we check what we want to print. So what we like to print next is to print this poetry. So how do we get there? First of all, let's inspect the element. So this is what we want to print. We see that this is in this class breadcrumb. So we have first of all to find that within the HTML. And then once we found that, we need to look for all the A elements. And then you see that there are three A elements. So this will, when we check for find with find all, for instance, it will retrieve essentially a vector with three elements. So what we want to do is to get the third element. So we have to select that. So in order to do that, we will write something like category. Let's see if this helps. So find the this list of class breadcrumb, find all the A elements in the second part, and then print the string. And I believe this should be working out. You can also have get text here, but that's a little bit of an older way to do it. So I would choose string because it's a little bit more versatile. And yes, we have here poetry, fiction, and so on. So this looks great. Now we have all the information that we wanted to retrieve from the first page. So the next step is to really iterate through all the 50 pages, if you remember. So this is the one page. If I'm going to close this, there are 50 pages. So what we need to do is to be able to retrieve all the books here. And basically, in order to do that, we will create a for loop. But before we do that for loop, let's actually do something else. So get info from all 50 pages. And then we should collect all the information we get somewhere. So we will make a list for every category of information that we need. So a title list, this should be one. Then I would need a price list, let's say, yeah, rating list, a category list, probably an URL list, and what else was there? Rating, category, URL, price. Okay, let's just continue with this and we'll add if we need later on. So now we have to actually navigate to each of the pages. So this is the first page. In order to go to the second one, we navigate here and we see how this changes the link there. So that's like page 3 and then so on, page 4. So this changes if I go from to, sorry for that, to 1, then it would be first page. Then if I go to 50, then it would be the 50th page and so on. So I will create this for loop finally. So that would be, and if we use range, you remember that it goes to n-1 basically. So if we need to go to 50, then we're gonna have to write for I in range 151. Then what we want to do, first of all, is to get a URL. So URL would be, so this should be working out. And then we want to get our soup. This seems correct. And now let's see if this is correct. Is this running? Yeah, so this is running just fine. Now, if you want to iterate through all books, then what we have to do is, for instance, if we choose one of these books on a random page, then we will search for this article element and with the class product pod. So in order to do that, we will write here all books. Sorry. And then that would be soup that we just created, find all. And then what we need is the article tag, and the class here would be, yeah, that's exactly what it was suggesting, product pod. So now we can iterate through all of this separately. It's not correct there. Yeah. So now for every book, I'd like maybe to have some space here for clarity. So for every book in all books, then we can get the, let's say we have a book URL in which we have actually only the https until.com. So what I actually want to get is until here, and then I don't actually need the rest. And then to get a title, I would write title would be book find h3 title. Then the price, we would again look exactly at what we did before. Now let's print two of these and see that they are doing what they're supposed to do. So print title, print price. All right, it's assisting with this, but okay, so far so good. This is working out. Now let's comment this and look for the stock. So if we remember from before, we actually didn't have the stock before. Well, never mind, we'll do it now. So the stock would be something like stock is book find, and then yeah, this is essentially it. So we need to look for the paragraph tag with in stock availability, and then for the star rating with a star rating class with a p tag, and so on. So this should be working fine. One thing that we need to still look now, I'm gonna continue while it's compiling. We need to also print the URL of the book. So for that, we need the link. So we need this book URL that we have here, and then we need to append to that the URL that we find. So the link then it would be the link to the book would be essentially book URL. Sorry for that. URL, and then this is, if you remember from the beginning, we were looking for the H3 tag, and then there was an anchor tag within that, and then what we need to get is the href. So this looks to be correct. And then what would be nice is to append all of these to the list that we created already. So if we go back here, then if we inspect here every book, so we have the H3 and the A anchor tag, and then the href. This is it. So now I think we have all in order, and let's see if this is working out or not. Yeah, so this is working out just fine. Now it would be nice to put all of them in a data frame. So I'm not sure if we already, no, we did not import pandas, but we can import it here. So import pandas, and what we could do, we could create a df all with all the information. Yeah. And then let's see how this is looking like. But maybe I actually don't want to run everything again. So I'm gonna do it here. Yeah, so here you can see how our data frame looks like. We have the title, we have the price, we have the rating, and then we have the URL. And then from here, of course, you can add more information here if you want. You can have the in-stock availability and so on. With this data frame, you can save it as a CSV file, and then you can work with that if it's more suitable for you. But this was the tutorial for Beautiful Soup. This was quite basic stuff, so we will talk more about it in other videos. But for now, thank you for listening.